So let's continue our lecture on measurement set theory. Okay, so what do I mean by measurement set theory? I don't care. You can measure all. This can all be this, okay, as far as the lifespan, but we're going to do this a little bit easier as far as introduction and examples. We are going to use Solomon Stone Mill, and that's mine because it was my trial. That's how you become a man around here. Okay, and that's the length in terms of an irrational number. All right, because we have a length, clock in, clock out, do hokey pokey, shake it all about. Or excuse me, that's up here. That's the end of the day to the start of the day. The next day is a interval, but it's not into clock in to clock out, and that's the rational form. Because anything that you can do between clock in and clock out, as far as Archimedes' methodology, the volume of the King's Crown inside of there, about doing that at work in the stone mill, because this is what you will come out with, right? You want to do something practical in here, not Feynman's integral over there of integral infinity plus infinity minus, I forget exactly what it is offhand, but all of these Gresham's law into a recombination black hole. So we're going to need something. And specifically, for my class, you're going to use the Master Mason's walkthrough. There's going to be many different routes that you take. This is not an individual job where you come in and you thermal rock every day. This is not an individual job where you are a Sawyer's assistant and that's all you do between A to B. You'll reciprocate those terms consistently with subtle differences between them, but approximations say that's your single task inside of there until you become a master of that function, which is really to say that you can cover most of the chords inside of the lines of code inside of there with divergences that say this symbol right here, knowing that that's calculable on the floor, correlates to you going a different route. That mathematically it makes sense for you to do this because you know the L brackets, you know the reciprocal on this of go in, clock out. That production is not going to act linearly because you stop. We have to correlate a zero space for that to say that in a 24-hour day, working a 10-hour shift, that production can only be correlated by a rocks that you cut, right, as a Sawyer or burn or training operations, whatever that case may be, that this is graphable. That drill sergeants can graph their success by testing their students' rifle quals, and therefore the inversion of the number of troops that hit the plate AR is correlated to the drill sergeant's inversion of success. Now, that's probably not the right words, but it's close enough to it to make it make sense. Now, obviously, you're going to have kids that you don't know from 0 to 18. Maybe they had rifle skills from hunting and playing around as kids, where sometimes that comes in and they have no experience whatsoever. So you're going to see form follows function and technique. The better your form follows function and technique, the better you'll put AR on plate or paper target downrange. And this is to say again that stone mill, that it is a rifle qualification as far as somebody pounding off at the guns, just out there with a flamethrower, burning it down. Because if somebody tried to give you a shaking hands of danger pyramid of stability with this without it correlating to any physical actions in your shaking hands of danger video about training operations instead of just a manager getting down there and doing that, it's like they don't know how to separate this without some incident in front of them, when what you need is again the stone mill. We'll get here to this. So I knew in the stone mill that I used to work at, Delaware Basin Stone, that the length of the irrational B to A was go home and do things. That's always the 888 rate. You're going to be working for 8 hours. You'll probably get in on an hour, or, you'll start your day. This being 8B is that you'll start your day at 3:30 to 4 and get up. That's this B to A variance on this. Then coffee at 3:30 to 4:30. You're gonna do coffee and dog. 4:30 to 5:30, shit, shower and shave. 5 to 5:20, gear up and start car. 5:20 to 5:30, gas station, country store. That was for me. You don't have to do that. 5:30 to 5:50 to about 5:55 is drive into work. 5:56, walk in and clock in, get dead. Okay? So all that freedom inside of there, doesn't matter what job you do unless you're living there, and this is, even on base or something like that, that you still have that window. They can't take that away from you. If you take that away from somebody, they'll start to have a negative return on you about slavery and some shit about Pontius and Passover, and it just becomes a hot mess. Like this, internally to that. So let's say we get that done. Let's go back to our Master Mason walkthrough. For me, I was a ground guy, an operator, a sawyer, and a Master Mason. That means I'm doing ground guy techniques, hunking bunks, doing things, and I don't really ever know in the floor technique, much like a mathematician, of students, where you're going to go, what you're going to do in life, or why. And that drives me crazy. Just off on a sidebar for mathematicians inside here, it's like, get a fucking list out, start asking what these kids want to do, or if anything, set them up on a hypothetical simulator so they can recreate some of these graph states later. Not doing this is not an option. You cannot do that, because otherwise these are all irrational numbers that all equal 0 with no value. And now we can say from set theory, from a delta algebra, the capital form of delta, or a lowercase form of delta algebra, that these would be the sets which you start with. You will recreate these by trying to find another sigma n, or an n sigma k equals 1 state, that is the stone mill needed to be graphed into numbers that is additionally every single day. Most of the framework should be good, because otherwise you're graphing a new framework every single day. And there's a real to that, because as an operator, a ground guy, first day rookie, junior mason, E2, you're going to learn skills as you go. And much like a sawyer or an operator to a ground guy, that if I'm an operator working in a machine or have a task that is correlated to a ground guy, anybody in this position could be the boss working my ground guy position, that we speak the same language as far as pull it out, drag it out, and do things, because then the calculations work the same way. And there might be a little bit of friction